Hello and welcome to this video. And in this video I'll be explaining to you how to make UI in Roblox, how to make it good. Alright, so once you're in your game, click on Start a GUI, make a screen GUI. Alright, that's the basic setup for every GUI. Now you can see a few properties here. Enabled display order, UI inset, reset and spawn, and we can go over those in a later video. Alright, so enable this if the UI is visible to you. Ignore GUI and set this just so you can basically put this GUI over the default Roblox bar, which is up here, etc. Display order is the order on your screen, like which it's the same like ignore GUI inset, but with our GUIs which you have made. Then there's reset on spawn. Pretty self-explanatory. If it's enabled, this GR will reset when you're spawning. Syntax behavior, if you're messing around with syntax, we'll be going over later. Just put this on global. Alright, now make a frame. So what I recommend is either installing the plugin Autoscale Lite or just putting those values over here to 0 if you're too lazy to download the plugin. And then you can start scaling it. If you do it this way, it scales to all devices automatically. Since if you don't reset the offset, it doesn't scale to all devices. If you want to test if this GUI scales on other devices, click on test and on device emulation, and then you can set this here. Alright, I'll set this to 1 and this to 0.5. 0.5. Alright. This is basically the background color of your UI. This is the border color. You can see. And there is border mode, inset, middle, or outline. Not so important, I'd say. And this is basically the size of the border. Layout order, similar to display order. Position size, pretty self-explanatory. Same with rotation. Size constraint isn't completely important in this case. It isn't very important for a frame at least. Style, not important here. Alright, since this is more advanced stuff. Alright, now click on UI corner, new object, and UI corner. What this does is basically it's round edges to your frame or any other UI object. It doesn't matter if it's a text label, text box, text button, or frame. You can, of course, set how rounded it is. If you only want it to be a little bit, just put it on 3 or so, as you can see. Then, if you still want to have a border, because as you can see, when adding a UI corner, you can't see the border anymore. If you want to have it back, click on your object and then search for UI stroke, and then you can make a new border. It's important to know if the UI object you're adding a UI stroke to is a text label, then put the apply stroke mode on border, since else it will just put a stroke around the text. This is the color of the border. This isn't really important. This is the transparency of the border, and this is the size of it. And this is pretty self-explanatory. Alright, if you want to make a list, for example, when using a scrolling GUI, I'll just make this UI like this, without scaling it right now. If you want to auto position all the frames, text buttons, etc. you're adding to the scrolling frame, for example, now, just hit plus, okay, add object, and then search for UI, and then you will see UI grid and UI list. Those are the important ones. Which one exactly you want, that's for you. That's your decision. I prefer UI list layout. Now you can see it will automatically position everything. Click on UI list layout and you will now see padding. This is basically the space between all those frames in this case. Let's put this on this value. Nice. Full direction is basically it should fill down or right. Horizontal alignment, pretty self-explanatory if it should be in the middle, left or right. Sort order, basically how it sorts like here. Vertical alignment, pretty self-explanatory, similar to horizontal alignment but for the other direction. If you want to auto set the sizes as well, use UI grid layout. Pretty self-explanatory. Also make sure to here use scale instead of offset if you want everything to be scaled on all devices and not only on this screen right now you're on. Because you want to scale it on the devices. And now I'll show you. If you use auto scale light, click on plugins. If it's not visible, click on manage plugins. Now enable auto scale light. Select the frame, text button, text label, image label, whatever, and click unit conversion. Now just hit scale and scale on size and position. And that's it, it will automatically scale. For images, it is not necessarily the same, alright? Sometimes you need to use a constraint or your size constraint, relative XX or relative YY, or just this one. UI aspect ratio. UI aspect ratio constraint. I'd recommend using autoscale light for that. Alright. This was it for this video. If you liked it, I'd be happy if you subscribe and maybe also like the video. See ya.